But that goes back to that other thing, because Elvis was ready to record it. I told my friends and people that he was recording it, and they were in.
Every day, I share another story from the Golden Age and the moments that shaped an unforgettable era. If you'd like to keep these memories alive with me, hit subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means a lot. Thank you for being here. Now let's begin. They called her the sweetest woman in country music, the one who never threw shade at anyone, but that image? Total Hollywood spin. Behind the glitter and the charm, there was a side of Dolly Parton most of us never saw. Dolly kept a secret list, 6 names that cut her deeper than any heartbreak. She never fully forgave them. Some were friends, some were legends. One, she even called the love of her musical life. Now, at 79, she's breaking her silence, and what she spills will shock you. Number 1 on that list, Elvis Presley, the king, whom she actually turned down. Few moments in music history hit harder than Dolly saying no to Elvis Presley. Back in 1974, Elvis wanted to record her heartbreak anthem, I Will Always Love You, written during her painful split from mentor Porter Wagoner. When Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager, called with the news, Dolly was thrilled until he dropped the bomb. Elvis wouldn't record it unless he got 50% of the publishing rights, she recalled. Dolly said, I'm sorry, but I can't give you the publishing. This is the most important copyright in my catalog. That single decision cost her a chance to have Elvis sing her song, but it saved her independence for life. After hanging up, Dolly cried all night. She adored Elvis, admired his charisma and raw power, but she saw the trap. Parker had pulled this on countless songwriters, and she wasn't about to be another victim. She admitted later that the sting lingered. She believed Elvis never forgave her for saying no. But fate had a twist. 2 decades later, Whitney Houston's version of I Will Always Love You became one of the best-selling singles in history, raking in over $10 million for Dolly. She said, I think Elvis would have been proud of me, maybe. But she knew the king's pride ran deep. Their paths never crossed again, and even though she spoke warmly of him, the sadness in her eyes told the real story. Even legends can hurt legends. Number 2, Whitney Houston, the voice that shook the world and stole the spotlight. When The Bodyguard hit theaters in 1992, Whitney's rendition of I Will Always Love You blew up globally. It sold more than 20 million copies and became instantly iconic, but most people forgot it was Dolly's song. For months, interviewers called Whitney the original artist. Dolly, ever graceful, didn't correct them. She smiled, but behind that smile was a mix of pride, admiration, and a sting of hurt. I cried when I first heard it, she told CMT, not because of money, but because it was so damn beautiful. That quote became her shield. Yet close friends say Dolly privately wrestled with being erased from her own creation. The song that once screamed independence now belonged to another voice. She could have sold the rights earlier, but she held tight. And when the royalty checks came rolling in, reportedly millions, she invested them in a Nashville strip mall. Joking. That's the house that Whitney Houston built. Dolly laughed. But behind the joke, there's truth. Whitney's massive success changed how the world saw Dolly's work forever. Even today, younger fans sometimes think the song belongs entirely to Whitney. When Whitney passed in 2012, Dolly said softly, I will always have a piece of her in that song. It wasn't bitterness. It was grief mixed with quiet triumph. Even though another voice carried her words, they still belonged to her. Publicly, their friendship never soured, but the shadow lingered, proving even admiration can sting when it dims your own light. Number 3, Porter Wagoner, the mentor who betrayed her. Before Dolly Parton became the queen of country, one man saw her star before anyone else, Porter Wagoner. In 1967, he invited a 21-year-old Dolly onto the Porter Wagoner Show, turning her into a national sensation. Together they made hits, toured the country, and built a picture-perfect image. But behind closed doors, cracks appeared. Porter wanted control over her music, her money, even her image. Dolly wanted freedom. She admitted, he didn't want me to go, but I had to. In 1974, she told him she was leaving to go solo. Porter took it personally, and 5 years later, he hit her with a $3 million lawsuit, claiming she broke their contract and owed him future profits. The betrayal cut deep. He helped me so much, Dolly said, and then he sued me rather than fight publicly. She settled quietly, but the wound was emotional, not financial. I Will Always Love You became her goodbye, not bitter, but firm. She called it a love letter to Porter, but also a declaration of independence. Decades later, they reconciled before his death. In 2007, Dolly covered his hospital bills and spoke at his funeral, but the lessons lingered. Loyalty comes at a price. Number 4, Linda Ronstadt, the perfectionist who drove her crazy. When Dolly, Linda, and Emmylou Harris joined forces for Trio in 1987, the world expected angelic harmony. But the studio nearly exploded. Dolly thrived on spontaneity, 2 takes, raw emotion, done. Linda? She demanded perfection, rehearsing endlessly for the smallest phrase. Dolly later laughed, "So slow it drives me crazy." But behind that laugh was real frustration. Trio became a critical triumph, but patience was tested to the max. Years later, Linda publicly called Dolly flaky and unreliable. During recording sessions, harsh words cut deep, and disputes over labels and scheduling delayed the follow-up for over a decade. By the time Trio 2 dropped in 1999, the warmth was gone. They never exchanged insults directly, but fans could feel the chill. Dolly summed it up diplomatically. "We loved each other's voices more than each other's ways of working. Sharp, but true. Their collaboration made history, but behind the music, quiet resentment lingered." Number 5, Miley Cyrus, the goddaughter who pushed her patience to the limit. Dolly has been godmother, mentor, and moral compass to Miley since birth. She once said, "Miley's like blood to me." But even blood doesn't always guarantee peace. Miley Cyrus, Dolly's goddaughter, has always kept life unpredictable. Dolly's been her guide, her mentor, even her moral compass. But that doesn't mean peace came easy. Growing up in the spotlight, Miley tested boundaries, made headlines, and kept Dolly on her toes. Dolly once said, "She's like blood to me, but blood doesn't mean calm waters." From crazy stage antics to eyebrow-raising fashion choices, Miley's boldness sometimes left Dolly shaking her head behind a smile. Yet she stayed close, offering advice, grounding her when fame threatened to spin out of control. Dolly admitted, "I can't control her choices, but I can teach her to stand tall." Even legends have to accept when the young ones rebel, especially when they're family. Number 6, the music industry itself, the battlefield that tried to chew her up. Dolly stepped into a world stacked against women, a space where power plays and contracts were traps waiting to snap. She saw friends and rivals fall, legends get taken advantage of, and even her closest allies sometimes put profit over loyalty. One of the biggest shocks? Discovering that trust in this business is rare. Dolly learned early that a smile could hide knives, and a handshake could come with a hidden clause. She never stopped believing in people, but she became sharper, street smart, and unafraid to fight for her own rights. Her refusal to hand Elvis Presley 50% of her publishing? That wasn't just guts, it was survival. Through every betrayal, every heartbreak, and every curveball, Dolly kept her fire. She faced legendary voices who overshadowed her, mentors who turned, perfectionists who pushed too far, and even her own goddaughter testing the limits. But she emerged stronger, wiser, and untouchable in her independence. Even at 79, Dolly's story isn't just about glitter and kindness, it's about grit, lessons learned the hard way, and owning your voice no matter who tries to steal it. Every song, every smile, every tear she shed has built a legend who refuses to be anything less than true to herself. As Miley's image shifted from Disney darling to pop provocateur, Dolly was caught between pride and quiet disapproval. When Miley stripped off her innocence on the 2013 VMAs, the tabloids screamed, "What does Dolly Parton think?" Publicly, Dolly defended her. "She's just trying to find her way." Privately, she admitted to Time, "I've told her things. Only a godmother can say." The tension was real. Dolly valued tradition, stability, and roots. Miley worshipped reinvention, chaos, and blazing her own trail. In 2023, Miley revealed Dolly had gently shaded her new single, Used to Be Young. "I don't know if I like that title. You're still young, sweet on the surface, but fans picked up the subtext, Dolly's subtle warning." Dolly worried her goddaughter was burning too bright, too fast, and sometimes a little reckless, but they stayed close. Their bond is unshakable. When Miley performed Jolene with Dolly on New Year's Eve 2023, the warmth and affection were undeniable. Yet every smile carried decades of experience. The weight of lessons learned, battles fought, and love tested. Two women bound by family, divided by era, but tied forever by respect and heart. Number 6, Jeff Tweedy, the critic who tried to mock her songwriting. Not all wounds come from friends. Some hit from casual arrogance. In early 2023, Jeff Tweedy, frontman of Wilco, joked in an interview that Dolly wrote "Jolene and I will always love you" on the same day. She should have stopped after Jolene. The comment exploded online. Fans accused him of misogyny, jealousy, or pure ignorance. For Dolly, it cut deeper. Those songs were written in a moment of heartbreak. Therapy turned into timeless melodies. They came from leaving Porter Wagoner's shadow, from pain, from honesty. Tweedy later claimed he meant no harm, but the damage was done. Country legends came to Dolly's defense, reminding the world she penned over 3,000 songs and defined American storytelling. True to form, Dolly said nothing she didn't need to. Her silence, lethal, polite, calm, but like an executioner's smile. Can you guess the next Wilco release? A quiet flop. Dolly doesn't rant. She doesn't tweet venom. She doesn't need revenge. Success does it for her. And make no mistake, she heard every word. As she once said, "I may look fake, but I'm real where it counts." That's Dolly Parton, polite in public, steel behind the smile. 6 names, 6 betrayals, and 1 woman who turned every wound into a song, a fortune, and a legacy. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every slight became fuel for her genius. But tell me, which of these stories shocked you most? Was it the king who tried to own her, the friend who sued her, or the voice that stole her spotlight? The truth is, Dolly turned them all into gold. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you felt something real, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.